What's up everybody, Dan from the Headwaters Kayak Shop, and I'm in Stockton, California today, and I'm headed to the Sportsman's Warehouse to have a look around and see what they have. I'm hoping to either find some good kayaks under $500 from my $500 and under review, or if they have that new pedal drive, like the new Riot Mako pedal drive that's branded something different. If they have that, I'm gonna buy it. All right, you guys, I'm debating taking one for the team and buying this thing. It's a Lost Creek angler kayak, which is basically a Riot Mako 10. But so many people ask about this boat, so many people are talking about it online. I feel like I have to do it as a community service. Hopefully I'll be able to sell it and make most of my money back out of it. This is probably a stupid financial decision, but I'm gonna go buy this thing. Schlepped it up to the register, got it here. So I'll get it home, I'll set it all up, put it together, give you guys a walkthrough, and then we'll go hit the water and try it out. So real quick before we move on, I wanted to let you guys know I got some new hats made. Those are going to be over on our website, as well as a new Teespring account. If you're watching this, look below and you'll see all our new t-shirts, all our new designs. Those are available to purchase right now, so click to buy. It's a great way to support the shop and keep these videos coming. And even just simply liking this video and clicking the subscribe button helps us grow this channel and helps support us. So thank you guys so much. Let's get back to the video. I did ask the manager there, like, hey man, what if I needed help setting this thing up? Like, there's lots of pieces and parts. And he's like, oh, I'd have to charge you extra for that. Kind of like, yeah, you take it how it is, you deal with it. I don't know. All right, I got it back to the shop, got it out of the van, and I'm looking for like an owner's manual here because there's lots of pieces and parts to put together. Oh, look who just rolled up. What do you think, Matt?
What is it?
I need your help.
What is it?
This is a Riot Mako, also known as Lost Creek Angler. It's a budget pedal drive. It's $1,099. I bought it at Sportsman's Warehouse, and this is how it came.
Isn't that Mako what we did funky repair on?
Yeah, you want to talk about your experiences so far with these? All right, here we go. I've got the drive kind of installed here, putting it together. Got it in there, seems to be working. So I did like piece this thing together to try to figure it out. The instructions were basically non-existent. And I mean, I've felt my way around a kayak so I could kind of figure it out. But I tell you what, if you were just picking this thing up and you didn't know much about kayaks, no wonder people have these things all set up wrong. The rudder's broken, the crank arm's falling off. They don't even give you the right tool to torque this down to spec. So, you know, I'm a little disappointed in the, I guess, the service or like the experience a customer buying this is getting. But hopefully I can get everything tightened down and kind of go through it. All right, so fast forward a few days. I'm out here at Lodi Lake at our demo facility, and I've got the Lost Creek Angler here. I'm gonna walk you guys through it, but something serendipitous happened. I actually had somebody trade in a Hobie Passport, and I decided I'm gonna put these two boats up head to head, compare the two. They're both budget price kayaks. This one's $1,099. The Hobie Passport is $1,399, so a little bit more money, but I think they're gonna compete really well against each other. So first, let's break down the Riot Mako. That's why we're here today. Right, so here it is all set up, you guys. I got the drive all installed. Figuring out things like the rod holder and stuff, this was not too hard. They kind of made themselves a custom T-bolt mount. This slides in here. It does come with one rod holder. It comes with scupper plugs throughout the cockpit, as well as a dry plug. So if you're gonna paddle it, you can jam that little piece of foam down inside there. Tracks that the seat slides in. Seat moves forward and backwards. Fairly vertical seat on there, so we'll see how the lumbar support is on that. Another track back here behind the seat. And then a traditional flip down style rudder, which deploys right here. You've got an up lever and a down lever here. You pull this and that flips that down into the water. Pull the red lever and that flips it right back up. And then the steering's actually kind of cool on this. It's a cable actuated steering right here. You can see it's got the holes with little grommets back behind the seat, and then that allows that to go left and right on the back of the boat. But one thing I think is actually kind of cool about this is it's on a knob. So if you're left-handed, you can actually move this to that track over there and vice versa. Other little features, it's got a kind of a small tank well. It will not fit a black pack, but it will fit a milk crate. You've got a little twist lock storage hatch here, so you have access to the interior of the boat. Along the sides here, it's technically supposed to be an anchor trolley, but whoever put it on here has never actually used an anchor trolley because it only allows you to slide it so far. It's basically, they put it on there to add features and value, but it's not really functional how it's set up. You could make it functional just by adding a couple of pulleys and adding a D-ring instead of these little sliding loops, but as is, it's completely not functional. A couple of flush mount rod holders here on either side, a
additional tracks along the back. Lots of tracks on this boat. Tracks in the cockpit section here. A couple more tracks up front. A couple more flush mount rod holders. A cleat, so you can cleat off your anchor. And then up front you have a little twist lock hatch that flips open. And you've got a storage bucket as well as a little tackle box that drops down inside there. So I think what Riot did here is they added a lot of perceived value to the boat, a lot of bells and whistles that make the boat look appealing to the kayak fisherman. But what they didn't do is they didn't add a lot of valuable parts to it. How everything's installed, you see pop rivets here, or these guys, which are actually just directly screwed into the hull. The overall feel and thickness of the plastic, you can see just with one thumb how I can push that boat and get it to flex. Or if I'm here and I'm standing in the boat, you definitely feel and see that flex underneath your feet. So the overall quality of the plastic's pretty cheap. The overall quality of the metal and parts on the kayak is definitely inexpensive. You know, it's made in China, which doesn't always necessarily mean poor quality, but in this case it definitely is the lower end of Chinese product. Actually has quite a few features for the price. And if the drive works properly, I think it should actually be a pretty decent value for the money. Now its competitor over here is the Hobie Passport, which is quite a bit simpler. This kayak is also made overseas, but this one's made in France. They make this in the Bic Kayak factory. So it is a thermoform two-piece plastic, I guess similar to a Pelican, but as you can tell, it's quite a bit stiffer. The overall build quality of this boat feels really, really nice. There's a few things that I think are a little chintzier that they cheaped out on. And one of those things is the rudder right here that you actually have to manually deploy and retract the rudder. And it's got a fiberglass push rod here, and that's how you steer. So you flip this down by hand, which means you have to do it out of the water, and then you've got your left and right, and basically that's just a push rod that goes in and out there. Also has two flush mounts behind the seat. The only spot it has tracks is right up here in the cockpit. It's got two tracks. Simple twist lock hatch. This is a Hobie hatch. Gives you access to the inside, no bucket, no tackle box, not a lot of bells and whistles, very simple. A metal frame mesh seat, which looks pretty good. It looks pretty comfortable. Pretty simple seat, it's pretty simple attachment. What really makes the difference to me is it's got the Hobie drive. It's got one of the older style Hobie drives. This one is their version 2 Hobie Mirage drive, but it is a proven drive. This is the same thing we've been seeing in Outbacks, Revos, even the older Pro Anglers for a long, long time. We know it's proven, we know it's gonna work. And if you're buying a Hobie product, chances are you're buying it because of this drive. But honestly, what truly matters is hitting the water and seeing how they perform. So let's hit the water with these two boats and see which one performs the best. All right, so the Mako's the one I'm the most excited to get in. I've never been in this boat. I've heard so much about it. Lots of people talk about it. So I'm gonna hop in this one first. Here, all right. Whew, this boat's hot, and I can feel the flex from the heat bouncing in the boat. You know, just the overall plastic is so hot that you can feel it squish. Can't say it's a fault to the boat. It is like 100 degrees in low tide today. Let's try to deploy this drive here. Let's see if I can do this. This thing pops up, drops right down here, and it goes in. Again, you guys, this came with no instructions whatsoever. So we're sort of having to just figure it out. If I'm doing something wrong, I apologize. But literally, there was nothing. I tried to go on the Riot's website, and I don't know if their site's just down or what, but I couldn't find any information. So I got the pedals in here. Cool. As you can see, I'm way short here, so we have a couple of knobs. One here, one on either side of the seat. Loosen those guys up a few turns. There we go. Ooh. Well, that's as far back as they go. I'm up against the back of the boat here, and you can see I still have, I pretty much have no leg length, and I'm 6'2". So if you're a bigger guy, the Riot Mako 10 probably is not for you. You definitely feel like your knees are to the chest. I thought it was interesting. One thing I noticed is on the crank arms themselves, you notice how short these things are. Really, really short. And I was surprised, you know, on a typical bike, you'd have maybe a 175 millimeter crank arm. These ones are 125, so they're relatively short. And I think it's so your knees don't hit you in the chest when you're paddling. All right, so again to deploy, I just flip this guy down, pop it in the water, and then I've got my left and right control right here. There you go, I'm off. And I'm paddling. All right, as I paddle my way across the lake here, try to get out of the wind for you guys. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it's a pretty significant effort to keep this thing going. Definitely already feel it in my legs, and I've only gone maybe 1/8 of a mile here. Not a super fast boat, you can tell maybe from this angle, the bow of this thing wants to ride up pretty high in the water. Those short arms make it feel like you're having to spin quite a bit faster to get going anywhere, like there's not enough leverage on the drive. The rudder control over here actually feels pretty decent. Right makes you go right, left makes you go left. Steers pretty good actually. All right, I made it over to my little obstacle course. My legs are cooked in this little boat. I don't think it's necessarily how hard the drive is, I think it's how close I am to the drive. If I had a little bit more leg room and I could stretch out, I'd probably feel a lot less crammed, but I'm not comfortable at all on this at 6'2", 34-inch inseam. But regardless, let's go ahead and take it for a little maneuverability test. Let's see how the rudder does here. Take this rudder handle, turn it all the way to the left. Let's see how tight of a circle I can spin. Okay. Yeah, I would expect a 10-foot boat to be a little bit snappier. You know, coming from like a Slayer 10 or a Titan 10.5, or even the Topwater 10. This is a little bit slower to turn, but it's not terrible. I also feel like as I'm turning, each time I turn, I get a little bit more slack and looseness in my line here. I don't know if it's just new cable stretching out, but the longer I pedal it, the more play I get in my handle. And I mean, I've only been out here 10 minutes, you guys, and it's already gone from tight to kind of a 1 o'clock to 11 o'clock slack. Turn it all the way right. And with any pedal drive, a little back kick will tighten up your turn, give you a little bit sharper radius. So turning wise, I would say, you know, average. It's nothing mind-blowing. It's not terrible. I spotted some weeds up here, guys. Let's try to run this drive through the weeds and see how easy it is to kind of clear the prop once you're through there. Every drive hits weeds on occasion. How hard is it to deal with? By the time it just buzzed right through. Let's pull this thing up and see if we got anything in there. So to pull the drive up, you pull this pin, you flip this lever, and then the whole drive just comes out. And they give you a clear window here. There you go. There's no way to really index the prop. You just kind of got to do it by visualization. But there you go. Not too much. I mean, no weeds caught in it really. So you definitely would want to leash this thing if you're going to be using it on the water, because if that thing falls off, it's just in the water. So the seat back on this thing's pretty high. You can see I've got my big life jacket on instead of my high back. But you can see that the seat hits me kind of middle of the back. There's not a lot of lumbar support, but it's not terrible. My bigger problem with the seat is that it doesn't go back far enough. All the way scooted back, and I feel like I trimmed the boat backwards, and I still don't have enough leg length to really be super comfortable. And I think if you're a smaller guy, you know, it's not gonna bug you as much. But you notice as I paddle, I'm kind of close to my chest here. I tell you what, you guys, let's go ahead and give this thing a speed test. Just try to max it out for a second, and then I'm gonna take it back across the lake and swap out with that Hobie Passport. Let's see what it'll do. You can hear it clicking and cranking. You get to a certain speed and you can feel that prop starting to cavitate. Not bad though. Yeah, you're definitely not getting this thing for speed. You're getting it for it being an affordable pedal drive, that's for sure. It's 10 foot long, pretty slow. Not the most efficient drive I've ever used, but $1,000. All right, guys, well, I think that's gonna kind of end it for my test drive here. As far as the drive itself, so far, it feels a little gritty, but honestly, it's held up to everything I've thrown at it. It's not like it's breaking. It's a lot more work if you do need to clear your property. You got to pull the whole drive out, which is a little more cumbersome. But again, everything I'm telling you through the filter of this is a $1,000 pedal drive. I totally didn't mean to do that. I just jammed it into a log while I was talking to the camera. Come on. Let's see if I screwed it up. I didn't realize there's a little submerged log here where I do my demos. The indexing would drive me crazy because when you get weeds caught in it, you can't really see the prop that good. I'm trying to get it lined up to pull it out straight. Pull it straight up. There we go. Oh, I see what happened. No wonder I'm getting all jacked up. There we go. Okay. Let's paddle away from that real quick. So I ran over that log, but as I did it, there was like a strap or something around the log that got caught around my drive. But didn't seem to affect anything, so plug it back in here and pedal back. Back in action. Back going. My initial impressions of the little boat, I would say that it's very stable. No issues at all with my stability. Height and weight, I'm about 230 pounds, no problems at all. Height-wise is a problem as far as fit to the boat. You want to be under 6 foot or maybe a 30-inch inseam if you're really going to make this boat work for you. So far, everything's held up, but this is just a 10-minute demo. I do worry just by the quality of the pieces and the parts that are on this boat, how well things are going to hold up. Like I'm already noticing a little bit of play in the rudder system. I would already want to tighten those cables after my first trip out. And then the drive itself feels a little grimy. It feels a little plasticky, but that's just feeling. It's not like it's failed me or anything. But so far, is it worth $1,000? If this gets you on the water in a pedal drive and that's really important to you, sure. The only downside is if this pedal drive fails you, the ability to deal with the repercussions and getting a new drive and getting a warranty may be difficult because you're going to be dealing with it through Sportsman's Warehouse, and the kayak itself isn't worth much without a drive. If I was looking at this, I'd also be giving a really hard look at that Hobie Passport, and because at least there you have Hobie standing behind the product. But let's get into that Passport and see if it's any good compared to this one, and I'll give you my thoughts there. All right, now I'm going to hop into the Hobie Passport demo. There we go. This one's got the Mirage V2 drive. Again, just older technology, but definitely proven technology. So one thing I'll say right off the bat is I'm actually in the middle of the settings and I still have room. I'm actually going to pull it back to setting number 5 here. I just adjust it right there. Okay. Perfect. And away I go. Wow. Wow. Holy crap, wow. There's zero resistance on this thing. You don't even feel like you're moving anything. You just feel like, I don't know, it's effortless. The steering on this one's over here on my left. Right to go right, left to go left. So I cannot stress enough how much more comfortable and easy this thing is. My knees aren't coming up to my chest. It's just this short kick and it just propels me across the water super fast. I'll tell you, just based on that alone, just based on that paddle across the lake alone, I would pick this one. Even though that one has more features, more bells, more whistles, the ease of using this one is so much significantly better. I mean, we're not on a big water, you guys. This is Lodi Lake. I could paddle around this whole lake in 15, 20 minutes if I wanted to. But the amount of effort I did it in this one compared to that Riot was, it's not even on the same ballpark, not even comparison. A third, maybe even a quarter of the energy expended to do the same distance. All right, so next let's check the rudder. How's this thing steer? We're just gonna kind of spin it around. I'm gonna turn it all the way to my left here, spin it around. This doesn't have the reverse, so if I wanna stop or straighten my turn, I can stop paddling, but I can't actually reverse or change position. And I can keep a nice, I would say this is probably a 15-foot circle, so I can stay in position pretty well. I do think that reverse drive gives you a little bit better control, a little bit better dexterity, but it comes at a cost. It comes at a lot more effort on that Riot drive. Other little features is it's got this hatch between my legs here, and although that other Riot had more pieces and stuff in the hatch, this hatch is actually accessible from the cockpit. So I can add Hobie accessories like the bucket or the tackle bag into this little hatch and have a lot easier access than if it was way at the front of the boat like on the Riot. So if bells and whistles are a thing to you, maybe look elsewhere. But I tell you what, if you're just looking for simple and effective, and I think if you're spending that kind of money, you're better off to go for simple and effective than feature rich, because honestly, I feel like the feature rich aspect is really just paying for kind of inexpensive Chinese parts versus this one. What you're paying for is that Mirage V2 drive and then a company based right here out of California to serve you after the sale. So I'm really, really glad I did this demo back to back and didn't do it separate videos, because I really noticed doing it this way just how much better that Hobie drive is and how much better it feels. And if I were to do it separately, I might think that Riot was a pretty good value because it does work as intended. Nothing broke. I mean, the steering loosened up, but nothing broke on my demo. So you know, even though it's cheaply made, it seems like it'll hold up for a light user. But paddling them two back to back, there's no doubt in my mind that this is a way better value. And I think Warren Buffett said it best. This is a quote I love, I use all the time in the store. Price is what you pay for something, value is what you get. So although this is $300 more, I feel like the value that you're getting is so much greater than on that Riot. If anything in this channel, I hope you guys have known me to be as honest and upfront as possible. And like I said, I think if $1,000 is max budget and you can get that Riot, I don't think you're gonna hate it. I just think if this is in the cards for you, you're gonna enjoy the Mirage Drive and the Hobie Passport way more. Anyways, you guys, that's my final thoughts. I'm gonna wrap this thing up. I've kind of gotten long-winded already. I hope you find this review useful. If you do, leave that for me in the comment section. If you've got experience, long-term experience with either the Riot or the Passport, do me a favor and leave those comments in the comment section. Let people know what to expect after 3, 6, 9 months of owning this boat. What issues have you had? Has it served you well? We'd love to hear that in the comment section below. Until next time, you guys, this is Dan from Headwaters Kayak Shop, wishing you happy paddling. We'll see you on the next one.